Welcome back, everybody. It's time for another deep dive. And, this time we're going to be looking at something that I think connects us all.
Hmm.
And that is the traditions and the celebrations
Yeah,
of New Year's Eve and New Year's Day.
absolutely.
Uh,
It's fascinating to me how this idea of a fresh start,
Right.
resonates across so many different cultures
Uh,
and throughout history.
yeah, no, I'm fascinated by that too. And one of the things that has always fascinated me
Yeah,
is how did January 1st become like the New Year's Day for
right.
so much of the world?
Well, I think the Gregorian calendar that we all use now,
Right. Yeah.
really standardized
It
things
did.
across, many different countries. And so
Mhm.
that kind of made January 1st, the official start of the year.
So are you saying that before that, it was
Yeah,
kind of a free-for-all in
absolutely.
terms of when to celebrate the new year?
Many cultures celebrated the New Year
Okay.
based on all sorts of different calendars. It's in
That,
astronomical events.
Hmm.
And a lot of times it was tied to agricultural cycles.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Or, religious observance,
exactly.
things
Yeah.
like that.
Okay. That reminds me of something kind of interesting,
Hmm.
historically.
Okay.
And that's that whole old Christmas thing.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so when the Gregorian calendar was adopted,
Hmm.
not everybody jumped on board right away.
Right.
Some communities
Okay.
really clung to that older Julian calendar,
Uh-huh.
and because of that, there was this discrepancy in
Yeah.
the dates. And so these communities, they celebrated Christmas in January
Really?
for over 200 years.
That's wild.
It's amazing.
Imagine the confusion.
Yeah, just an extended holiday season.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so let's dive into the heart of the celebration here.
Okay.
New Year's Eve itself.
Yep.
What are some of the common themes we see across, all these different cultures? You see this interesting kind of juxtaposition
Yeah.
of revelry and reflection.
Okay.
So on the one hand, you have these like exuberant celebrations,
Right.
fireworks going off, parties and feasts, special foods,
Right.
unique to each culture.
It's like the whole world's decided to just let loose,
Yes.
and
It's like a collective exhale.
just embrace the excitement of a new beginning.
The excitement of a fresh start.
But along with those outward expressions of joy, there's often a deeper,
Right.
more introspective element to it as well, right?
Yes. Many cultures have these traditions that encourage people to look back on the past year
Right.
and to set intentions
Mhm.
for the year ahead.
Yeah.
Some people engage in spiritual practices,
Right.
like watch night services,
Uh-huh.
and others just,
Just take a moment
take a moment.
of quiet reflection.
Yeah.
It's almost like a global pause, a time to both celebrate and to take stock.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm dying to hear about some of the more unique New Year's Eve traditions
Oh, yeah.
from around the world.
Sure.
What are some of your favorites?
Well, there are so many.
I know.
But one that comes to mind is in Japan. They have this red and white song battle.
Okay.
It's a televised musical showdown
Wow.
that's been a tradition for decades
Oh, wow.
on New Year's Eve.
Mhm.
And it pits popular singers against each other,
Okay.
divided into red and white teams,
Oh,
symbolizing the old and the new year.
that sounds like a blast.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that tradition can be
Yeah.
both entertaining and meaningful.
Absolutely.
Speaking of meaningful traditions,
Yeah.
in Spain, they have that tradition of eating the 12 grapes
Right.
at midnight.
One for each month
Yeah. Yeah.
of the coming year.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
Sounds like a challenge to me.
It's a fun tradition.
Yeah.
A little chaotic,
I bet.
but, meant to bring good luck.
What else you got?
Well, in Germany, they practice this thing called Bleisen.
Bleigießen?
Bleidisen. Yeah, it's a mouthful.
Okay.
But
I'm sure our listeners can handle it.
it involves dropping molten lead into water
Oh, wow.
and then interpreting the shapes that it forms.
So kind of like fortune telling.
Yeah, kind of
Kinda.
predicting the future.
Sounds a little dangerous.
Yeah, you definitely want to be careful with that one.
Right. Molten metal.
Safety first.
Always.
Always.
For sure.
But speaking of adventurous traditions,
Okay.
in Ecuador,
Mm-hmm.
people run around the block
What?
with luggage,
Oh.
symbolizing their desire for a year
Okay.
full of travel.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's like manifesting their travel dreams.
Exactly.
You know?
Putting it out there.
Right from the start.
Yeah.
It seems like all these traditions,
Hmm.
as diverse as they are,
Yeah,
really tap into this universal yearning
they do.
for good fortune
Uh-huh.
and new beginnings.
Yeah, I think that's a common thread
It
that connects us all.
For sure.
Despite the different ways we celebrate,
Right.
we're all kind of looking for that fresh start.
Right. And that hope for a better year to come.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then, of course, as that excitement of New Year's Eve kind of fades,
Right.
we enter the realm of New Year's Day with its own set of traditions and significance.
Right. The party's over.
Yeah.
The confetti has settled.
Yeah.
And maybe those resolutions are starting to feel
Right.
a little daunting.
Yeah.
So how does the world kind of transition,
Well,
from the revelry of New Year's Eve?
you see this shift from outward celebration to a more introspective,
Okay.
reflective mood.
Like the world is catching its breath,
Yeah, exactly.
after a big night out.
Exactly.
Okay.
And while New Year's Eve
Mm-hmm.
is about letting go of the old,
Right.
New Year's Day is about embracing the new, setting those intentions into motion, and starting the year on the right foot.
So what are some of the common themes then
Well,
that we see in these New Year's Day traditions around the world?
yeah.
Is it all about relaxation?
Yeah.
Or are there some lively celebrations still happening?
It's really a mix. You'll
Yeah.
find a range of activities, everything from quiet family gatherings
Yeah.
and personal reflection to, parades and polar bear plunges.
So the world can't decide whether to relax or keep partying.
I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about some of those unique cultural traditions
Okay.
that make New Year's Day so special.
One that comes to mind is the Vienna Philharmonic's New Year's Day concert.
Oh, yeah.
It's a tradition that dates back to 1941,
Wow.
and it's just this grand celebration of
Yeah.
classical music
Right.
broadcast worldwide, setting this elegant
Okay.
and hopeful tone for the year ahead.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
It sounds magical.
It is.
Starting the year off with such beautiful music.
Yeah, it's a really special tradition.
And for those who prefer a more visual spectacle,
Right.
there's always that Tournament of Roses parade
Oh, yes.
in Pasadena, California.
That's a classic.
Right, talk about starting the year off
Yeah.
with a burst of color and energy.
With bang.
Are there any traditions that are a little more quieter
Yeah.
and contemplative?
In Japan,
Mm-hmm.
there's a beautiful tradition
What's
of
that?
watching the first sunrise of the year.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
It's very symbolic,
Yeah.
welcoming the New Year's light.
Embracing the possibilities.
I love it. And speaking of new beginnings, what about those New Year's babies?
Oh, yes.
Those first babies born in the new year.
They're instant symbols
Right.
of new beginnings.
They are such a symbol of hope and renewal.
Absolutely. And many hospitals even give out prizes
Really?
to the first baby born in the new year.
Wow, they're like instant celebrities. Yeah. I always think about that image you see, in cartoons and illustrations
Yeah.
of Father Time handing off his duties
Right.
to the baby New Year.
It's that perfect representation
It is,
of
yeah.
that transition from old to new and that cyclical nature of time.
So we may celebrate in different ways,
Right.
with varying levels of energy and excitement.
Absolutely.
But that underlying message of New Year's Day,
Yeah.
it seems pretty universal,
It is.
that sense of hope.
A belief that this year could be better
Right.
than the last.
A chance to start fresh.
It's a powerful thing.
It really is. It's like the whole world is saying,
Yeah.
okay, let's do this.
Make it happen.
Let's make this year count.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
As we're wrapping up our deep dive into all these New Year's celebrations,
Yeah.
I'm really struck by just the diversity of all these traditions that we've talked about.
It's pretty remarkable, isn't it?
It really is.
I mean, from, quiet reflection to just these boisterous celebrations, the way that people all over the world mark this transition is just so varied.
It is. And yet, despite those differences,
Right.
there's that common thread
Yeah.
that runs through it all.
Absolutely.
That sense of hope, that yearning for new beginnings.
Yeah. And recognizing
Yeah.
that cyclical nature of time.
I think what's really fascinating to me
Yeah.
is just the enduring power of these traditions.
It's true.
In a world that's constantly evolving and changing, these customs give us
Yeah.
this sense of continuity,
Right.
this connection to our past.
The generations that came before us.
They're like a cultural anchor, I think,
Yeah.
reminding us that even as things change, certain values and aspirations.
They remain constant.
Yeah.
A lot of these traditions are rooted
Yeah.
in ancient beliefs and rituals
Oh,
passed down for centuries, even millennia,
It's amazing.
connecting us to our history
Right?
and our heritage.
It's like we're carrying a piece of the past with us
Yeah.
as we celebrate.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it.
Honoring those who came before us
Mm.
and, paving the way for those who will come after.
Yeah, that connection to the past, I
Yeah.
think it's so powerful.
It is.
It gives us that sense of perspective, reminds us that, we're part of something
Right.
much larger than ourselves.
It really makes you realize that,
Mhm.
the hopes and dreams that we have for this new year
Yeah,
are really just echoes
right.
of the hopes and dreams of countless generations.
Who came before us?
It's a humbling thought,
It is.
but it's also inspiring, I think.
Yeah.
So as we move forward into this new year,
Mm.
let's carry with us the lessons
Yeah.
that we've learned from this deep dive.
Okay.
Let's embrace those traditions
Yeah.
that speak to us,
Well, ones that resonate.
whether they're ancient customs
Right.
or, newly created rituals.
Let's be open to new experiences. Draw inspiration from cultures all over the world.
Right, and above all,
Yeah.
let's hold on to that spark of hope,
I love that.
their belief in the possibility of a brighter future.
That's the magic of the new year.
It really is.
It's that chance to start fresh,
Mm.
to learn from the past and create a future
Right.
filled with joy and purpose
Right.
and connection.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Well,
On that note, we will bid you farewell.
okay.
Happy celebrating, everybody.
Happy New Year.
And until next time, keep on diving deep.